You were something before that room opened its doors to you, and you will be something more, not less, after you walk out of them. A few days ago, I posted a short about a room that had your time, your gifts, your best years written all over it. A room that somewhere along the way stopped being able to hold who you were becoming. The response told me everything. People knew immediately which room I meant, without hesitation, because most of us have one. Today, I want to go deeper, not into the room itself, but into what happens to you when your identity becomes fused with it, what it costs you, and most importantly, what you discover you're carrying when you finally leave. My name is Hannah Ola. I work at the intersection of identity, life transitions, and becoming. And I want to tell you something today that took me a long time to understand for myself. You were something before that room opened its doors to you. And the room, whatever it gave you, whatever it cost you, was never the source of that. I want to start by naming something that happens so gradually, most people don't notice it until it's already done. When you help build something, when you pour your time, your gifts, your genuine belief into a place, your identity doesn't just connect to it, it fuses with it. It happens in stages. First, you arrive, and the room gives you something, a title, a role, a sense of purpose, a community that knows your name and values what you bring. That feeling of being known and valued is one of the most powerful human experiences there is. And it begins to shape how you see yourself. Then you build. You create things inside that room, systems, culture, relationships, a version of yourself that is defined by what you contribute. And the room, whether consciously or not, begins to reflect that identity back to you. And then something shifts. The room changes, or you change, or both happen at once. And the identity that was built inside those walls starts to feel like it belongs to the room more than it belongs to you. This is identity fusion. And it is the reason that leaving a room you helped build feels less like changing jobs and more like losing yourself. I want to speak from my own experience here. I have been in rooms where I gave everything I had, where I built genuinely, showed up consistently, and over time allowed the room to become the primary source of my sense of worth. In one of those rooms, my gifts were publicly recognized. My contribution was visible. My potential was named out loud in front of others. And then privately, gradually, systematically, the same room began to make me smaller. Not with a single dramatic moment, with a series of quiet ones. A door that didn't open, a promise that was delayed, a narrative about who I was that grew smaller than the person I knew myself to be. And here is what I now know that I wish I had understood then. Their definition of me was not the truth of me. It was simply too small to contain what I actually was. I had to have been something before those doors opened to me. The doors opened because of what I was and kept opening and kept opening. No room gave me that. No room could take it. I just had to stop letting their inability to see it become my inability to claim it. When your identity becomes fused with a room, there are three specific costs, and I want to name all three because naming them is the first step towards separating yourself from them. The first cost is conditional worth. When your sense of value is tied to a room, it becomes conditional on that room's approval. You are as worthy as the room says you are. You are as capable as the room reflects back to you. And when the room's reflection changes, when the recognition fades, when the doors stop opening, when someone else's agenda begins to rewrite your story, your worth feels like it changes too. It doesn't, but it feels like it does. And that feeling is one of the most disorienting a human being can experience. The second cost is the inability to leave. When leaving the room feels like leaving yourself, you will stay past every rational reason to go. You will explain it as loyalty or responsibility or not being ready. But underneath all of that is a simpler and more honest truth. You don't know who you are without the room. And that not knowing is terrifying. The third cost is the corridor. When you do finally leave, when the door is open and you walk through it, you enter the in-between. And the particular challenge of that in-between, when you've helped build the room you're leaving, is this. You don't know how to introduce yourself without referencing it. The room was your context, your title, your community, your story. And now you're standing in the corridor with none of those things, just you, carrying everything the room gave you towards something you can't fully see yet. So, what do you do with all of this? The work of separating your identity from the room begins with three questions, and I want you to sit with these. Not answer them quickly, but sit with them. The first question is this. What did I bring to that room that existed before I entered it? Your gifts, your instincts, your capacity for leadership, your vision, your courage. These things preceded the room. They were not given to you by it. The room recognized them, but it did not create them. The second question: what did I develop inside that room that I am taking with me? Every room teaches something. Even the rooms that diminished you taught you something about what you will not tolerate, about what you are worth, about the kind of room you will build next. The knowledge is yours. You earned it. It does not stay behind when you leave. And the third question, perhaps the most important: what did that room ask me to leave at the door? And am I ready to pick it up now? The parts of you that were too much, too ambitious, too vocal, too big, the gifts that were underused or quietly discouraged, the voice that learned to soften itself because the room couldn't hold its full volume. Those parts of you did not leave. They waited. And now that you are out of the room that asked you to be less, you are allowed to pick them back up. All of them. Identity fusion, conditional worth, the inability to leave, the corridor, and the reclamation. These are not abstract concepts. They are the specific lived experience of outgrowing a room you helped build, and they deserve a framework. Next week, I am introducing one. It is called The 4 Rooms. It maps the full journey from the room you built, through the locked door, through the corridor, to the room you are finally building for yourself. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And drop a comment. Tell me which of the 3 questions stopped you. I read every single one. My name is Hannah Ola. Their definition of you was never the truth of you. It was simply too small to contain what you actually are. And it is time, past time, to stop letting that smallness be the last word on who you are.